Field at historic Riggs Field. Let's meet the lineups tonight. Two big changes to note for Furman. Up top, the head coach, Brendan Tucker, making his debut. But in goal, Aaron Salinas. He was hurt all of last year. 2024 SoCon Goalkeeper of the Year, back in the starting role tonight. On the other side for Clemson, we've talked about and will talk about Ransford Gyan. But who's getting him the ball? Remy Okunlola, one of the captains of this team, led the group with 8 assists last season. It is up to him to feed things along, and we are underway here at historic Riggs Field. It's Furman in the white. It's Clemson in the orange. We are delighted to have you back. Men's college soccer is back. Alongside Devin Kerr, I'm Joe Malva. It's Furman and Clemson in the Upstate Derby. Such a buzz about this crowd. About 45 minutes separating the two campuses. Rivalry that goes back to 1934. It hasn't been played as often as of late. 7 years since the last one. Clemson has won 3 straight games. And it's something that Brendan Tucker and the Furman Paladins are aware of. They're aware that they also come in with a target on their backs in this game. They're the number 3 team in the nation. They're coming off a College Cup instead of Clemson, who have won 2 of the last 5 national titles. So the roles are a bit reversed tonight. Interesting how these two teams both handle that psychologically. All the way back to Alexei Janic. Talked about Aaron Salinas in goal for Furman. Janic also in goal now for Clemson. Last couple of years, Joseph Andema has been their man in goal, and he's also been their captain, their emotional leader. So that's a big loss for the Tigers, and how they supplement that in goal will be interesting throughout the season. Here's a returnee, Arthur Duquesne. What Okunlola does on the right side of the distribution, Duquesne does on the left side. Here he goes. Duquesne delivering the header. Gyan keeps it in play. Potent start for the Tigers. Something they excelled at last year, making the most of set-piece opportunities, be it free kicks, corners, or long throws. Lucas Magnuson, Floki Stevenson, the 2 big Icelandic center backs, always the targets in these moments. Jimenez launches. Poked away from Okunlola. As well to recover. Resets to Janic. Janic looking long. Stevenson still up forward. That'll stay in play. Floki Stevenson. Centering save by Salinas off his own man defensively. Difficult one.
I don't think there's any question whatsoever that both squads are ready to run. I mean, that's very, very clear. A contagious energy about these group. The expectation for the Paladins, need to be careful with it. Returning such high quality talent for the group that made it to the Men's College Cup semi last fall. Can't look all the way down into December. Has to focus on the squad and the team on the opposite side of the field, right in front of them, in the Clemson Tigers, who have a tremendous amount of talent.
Wesley Siegel,
even with the unfulfilled expectation last year, and have reloaded up high.
Brendan Tucker, 9th season on staff, 1st season as the head coach. Doug Allison, 3 decades in charge. We'll see him later on tonight, but Brendan Tucker has his fingerprints on this team now. You'll see some differences, some similarities, but they really want to change the way they play the game.
Defensively, always stout. They're a physical team. They can play direct, but it's more so about ball control. And Brendan Tucker felt like defensively, especially in the game against Washington in the semifinal, they struggled with the high press, and their disposition changed. They became a little bit frantic, and he wants a calming presence about them to be able to control the tempo of the game with the ball at their feet. That's all good and well, and I'm not concerned about the back line in those situations. What you're looking for is rotations in the midfield between All-American Diego Hernandez, Gabe Cox, and Luke Hutzel to provide those solutions moving back to front.
And Wesley Siegel, who provided that last ball into the box. You mentioned in the open 13 starters return. You said let that sink in. It was Wesley Siegel and Aaron Salinas, the 2 you mentioned. Salinas missed all of last season hurt. Siegel started the first 5 games, then got hurt. Here's Ransford Gyan. He can go, and he wins a corner for the first time tonight for the Tigers.
Now you've got the best problem if you're first-year head coach Brendan Tucker, 9th year with the program, and it's squad selection. Wes Siegel comes in, Salinas back in goal. Depth within the midfield, options up high. And certainly one that you don't necessarily need to play out. Gone are the days where teams are just sitting with their 11. Quality rotation because of such tremendous amount of depth available to these managers.
Ransford Gyan, one of the top players you're seeing in this game tonight. Number 8 in the Top Drawer Soccer preseason top 100 list. Whips in the corner. He was going for glory of an Olympico and missed it by a little bit. Mike Noonan excited to have Ransford Gyan back. He was drafted in the first round this last year in MLS, comes back for his 3rd season with the Tigers. It's Mike Noonan's 17th season, 2 national titles in 21 and 23. It's become an annual tradition. We asked him what his expectations are for the team, and the answer is always, we'll see. And then he does end up elaborating. The word he kept coming back to is love. He loves this group as people, and he's excited to see how it translates as players in the first few weeks of the season.
I love the honesty of Mike Noonan, but there's also some gamesmanship there, and I'll take you back to their last national title in 2023. Approaching the end of the season, it was also, we'll see. And he knew how talented that group was and that they were more than capable of making a title run. So you put on a Tigers jersey, there's an expectation that excellence will follow, but also understanding that that pathway isn't always going to be as similar as the year prior. He does a really good job of managing those expectations throughout the year.
One of the issues last year was some consistency on the back line between Lucas Magnuson and Floki Stevenson. In this moment, Furman tries to exploit to the middle. Caleb Johnson, he starts over Wilfred Bustamante, as was the case last year. Johnson sort of wears out the opposing back lines. Bustamante comes in, picks up the pieces. There's your first look at Johnson wreaking some havoc on Magnuson and Stevenson. Janic sets up the wall. I mentioned Ransford Gyan, number 8 on the Top Drawer Soccer top 100 list coming in. Well, that man wearing number 10 in white, he's number 1. Diego Hernandez, the top-ranked player coming into the season in college soccer. Last season, 10 goals, 9 assists for the Paladins. Brayden Dunham standing over this free kick as well. He can strike a ball. It's Hernandez into the wall. And to close that point, Dunham number 4 on that top 100 list. So 3 top 10 players in this game tonight. Hernandez 1, Dunham 4, Ransford Gyan number 8. Dunham gearing up for the long throw. Maybe the first person in history to go from Estadio Azteca to historic Riggs Field. Long throw from Dunham. Dealt with by that Clemson back line. Hernandez goes down. Goal kick. Back to Dunham. He was the anchor of the back line of the United States at the CONCACAF Under-20 Championship. Made the final, lost to Mexico in that final. So it goes from 36,000 fans in the stands at Estadio Azteca. Now Dunham anchoring this back line here to begin the college season. Janic transferred from Marshall, had a torn labrum in 2024. He finished the season, played with it hurt, got the surgery, missed all of 25, now transfers here. Threaded through for Bakken from Gyan, across, open man, still loose in front, tapped in! The Clemson Tigers with a quick start in 2026. It's the newcomer, Johannes Kaeck.
That's one thing that's very clear about the Clemson Tigers year after year, and its pace. Man, can their front line fly. Good patience by Ransford Gyan, allows the diagonal to weak side shoulder, so as a defender, really difficult to catch the timing of the run. As this ball comes down into the corner, beautiful touch pass across the 6. And even though it's not clean on the first, excellent follow-up by Kaeck in the 9 position. He knows that ball's going 1 of 2 places. Bottom corner or right in front of him. Tigers flying early.
The freshman from Sweden, a freshman in name only, an older freshman, just turned 20 in February. Played 42 games the last 3 years at Trelleborg in Sweden in the 2nd and 3rd divisions. From April through June before joining Clemson, had a goal in 12 games in the Swedish 3rd tier. So a freshman, yes, but an experienced freshman. Johannes Kaeck gets his first career goal. Correa, another transfer, gets the assist. Ransford Gyan ignited the whole thing. The play started with him and ended with Clemson's first goal of the season. And the Tigers, when they are home, when they have a lead under Mike Noonan, they are outstanding. 162, 14, and 17 when scoring first under Mike Noonan. Furman looking to respond now. Free kick coming their way. Justin St. Pierre holding things up for a moment. He's calling over Lucas Magnuson for a conversation. Lucas Magnuson, last year, 12 starts, injuries ended his season early. Was drafted in the first round by Real Salt Lake, elected to come back to school the same way Ransford Gyan did after he was drafted by NYCFC. 10 quarters in the corner there. Connor Stout trying to work out if it does. This Clemson team can fly. It's when they were at their best last season. That counter orchestrated by Ransford Gyan. Injuries at times, players coming in and out of the lineup meant that the consistency lacked. And that's the thing Mike Noonan kept coming back to on the back line and in the attack. Consistency wasn't there. It's why, in his eyes, they finished near 500 at 8-6-3 overall and fell short of the overall goals.
Oh, he's gone quickly here, has he? To the yellow on Connor Stout. That's a denial of an attacking transition. A lot of times early in a game, certainly early on in the season, referee will give you a grace period there. Not the case for Connor Stout. And here's what I want you to keep an eye on. Yes, the goal came from there, but more importantly, with the control that head coach Brandon Tucker wants from his team, there's also going to be more aggression. So at times, that front line will play higher. In tow, the wingers will start to jump as well. That puts more pressure on the outside backs and the space on either side of Luke Hutzel. Ransford Gyan has recognized that early for Clemson. So he's looking for this pocket in front of the back four. That's got to be on Braden Dunham and Ryan Ryder to control it. You either step and go with him, or you pass him off. But communication has to be key in a hostile environment like this.
For Furman, it's almost picking up where they left off for the wrong ways. They were overwhelmed in that College Cup game early on by Washington, the eventual national champions. It's Clemson on the front foot, getting the early goal, and looking menacing every time they get the ball in the attacking half. Well, Furman returned every starter from that College Cup team. You look at Clemson starting 11 tonight. There's a couple of key pieces up the spine of the team. But there's a lot of newcomers and a lot of intricacies in the attack that have to be worked out. Gone are the days of Mohamed Mensah and Misa Yoshizawa, the chemistry they possess with Ransford Gyan. How quickly can he get things going with Johannes Kaeck, Reno Correa, Martin Bakken and the likes? Well, pretty quickly so far tonight. I suppose for those other guys, it's pretty easy to play with Ransford Gyan. Yeah, exactly. You're talking about the Clemson Tigers. You know, a university would love the opportunity to get their hands on one playmaker like a Ransford Gyan. We're not that far removed from Usman Silla running the same position for this team who's now at the pro ranks in USL. And because of the way they play in transition and the playmakers they have, you again see the record there when scoring first under Mike Noonan. They're such a good front-running team because when you have to open up, you play into their hands, and one becomes two, becomes three. We've been here many times, and how many times has it become an avalanche for the Clemson Tigers? Physical play between these teams early on. Luke Hutzel always eager to put himself in the mix in those moments. Luke Munson gets it back. There's Reno Correa, one of the transfers in this group for Clemson. Got the assist on the opening goal last 3 years at Gardner-Webb. A goal and 6 assists over the last 3 years. All-conference player at Gardner-Webb. Comment from Mike Noonan about Correa was anywhere but striker or goalkeeper. He's comfortable playing him as the season goes along. We were almost surprised when the lineup came out to see him as the left winger in an attacking role most of the conversation with Mike Noonan was how would he fit in a more defensive shape, but starts on that top on the left wing, paid dividends immediately.
I think the great thing about the players that he already had, and certainly the ones that have been brought in, is their flexibility. Just talking about Ransford Gyan a second ago, play him in the 10 on the front line, work him outside in. But as you look underneath, the midfield has the ability to play with a single pivot in the 6 to allow numbers coming up high. You can build quickly with speed on the outside with Duquesne and Okunlola. If you wanted to play a 3-back system, bump that even higher. So you're not committed to one single look if you're head coach Mike Noonan. You and I were discussing this before the game. That's also been the brilliance of their success, is his ability to tweak the group as he best sees fit to match what these players are capable of getting done as the season goes on, right? He doesn't go, oh, we're going to play this way and it's my way and no matter what. No, they adapt to find success.
And here they go again. Johannes Kaeck in behind. Numbers for Clemson. Kaeck feeding it across. Those are the moments where maybe
tactically and what's being asked of you, tendencies difficult to remove from your repertoire. I think the biggest thing for me right now is the outside backs and just pulling them a little bit deeper to allow to keep the game in front of you. They're playing high, they're aggressive. It's a lot of pressure on the center backs and the spacing in front of them, which is where the Tigers are operating in successfully, I might add.
Now a yellow the other way. Mason Jimenez joins Connor Stout of Furman in the book. Haven't seen this rivalry game in 7 years. When we were seeing it on a more annual basis, let's just say cards were dished out pretty frequently. Yellow, red, you name it, there were plenty of them. We've got 2 yellows in the first 15 minutes tonight. Now Furman head coach Brandon Tucker, an assistant the last time these teams met. He also made note that, again, something you don't want to see obviously tonight, there were multiple season-ending injuries in that game. And look who's next to him there. That's something that was pretty interesting to see come down the wire. Camilo Rodriguez spent the better part of the last decade as an assistant at Clemson, now switching over to Furman. It goes back to his relationship with Brandon Tucker and wanting that opportunity to progress his career in a new role. Kaeck. John was calling for it, almost got there anyway. Dunham gave it away. Okunlola. John. Little touch pass through for Jimenez. Kaeck couldn't get there from Correa. Worked through for Johnson. Fronted by Stevenson. Johnson scanning, looking for some support in the box. Patience from Caleb Johnson, cutting in, going toward goal, saved by Janic.
That's better though, better overall. Struggling for some presence out on the width. Travis and Siegel trying to wander to help each other here. That's because defensively, as tight as they were, they didn't break with Connor Stout on the far side. Here's what ends up happening. So you go 15 minutes in, you go goal down, you're under a ton of pressure. As I said, you pull it back a little bit to start to create control, but it also has fear, because if you start to step out of your comfort zone, you've already been to a place that you don't want to go. You have to remain brave in moments like this as you become defensively stout.
Martin Bakken. Kaeck, looking back through for Bakken. The senior from Norway, transferred from Dayton where he spent the last 3 years. Martin Bakken, 18 goals, 13 assists the last 3 seasons. In that moment, you saw some more of that fluidity from Clemson. Bakken coming left, Kaeck dropping in, Ransford Gyan up top as the lead striker. You don't know where these talented players with different tendencies are going to pop up at different times, and it makes them so hard to defend. Kaeck, Ransford Gyan, ball velcroed to his foot as ever. Feeding Okunlola. Remy Okunlola, too much. Kept in play, good hustle though by Correa. Duquesne. Correa rolling it along. Blocked and out for a Clemson corner. Referee Justin St. Pierre coming over to look at the clock. There was a moment where the clock stopped. So they just have to fix that. It's still counting right now. They had asked for it to be stopped. I suppose we're back. It's the first game of the season for everybody. Clock malfunction.
You know, you had one thing to do in your time off, and that was pay the power bill. You couldn't even do that. It's ridiculous. I leave you alone for 1 minute, and here we are.
I was just funding your catering bill.
You know, the well-oiled machine that is the Clemson Tigers does not translate for a quality broadcast unless you start to get it together, my friend. How's the video review for the clock? The only thing different would be coming up into the booth to see if we're behaving ourselves, which if you look to the left of the clock, we are in fact right there. 30-31. And what's the argument here?
How good's your math here?
Oh, that you know better than that, than to start throwing numbers on the fly.
30-24, I believe, is where we're told it stopped.
Yeah, it's about 3 seconds after the fact.
So there it stops. He asked for it to be stopped for the yellow card. We're good there. It was after play resumed that they didn't quite start it on time.
He hits it at 24, though.
Yeah, 26, 27. We're in the ballpark. Didn't have this under bingo card to begin the night, probably. Oh, at the very least, this is going to be a welcome break for Brandon Tucker and the Furman Paladins to regather a little bit, maybe tweak some things as far as how they want to approach the rest of this first half. Down a goal already.
Well, I think the idea certainly is still about space for this Paladins team. I'd like to get some more coverage for Luke Hutzel in that 6th position in the midfield three. Gabe Cox, Diego Hernandez, bring them a little bit tighter, work better off of each other defensively. Again, the pockets just in front of the center backs, inside the 2 outside backs. Really good job we're getting from Ransford Gyan, and then either Shake, who's pivoting in there, or Kohea. Little 2-man game shifting side to side that has allowed him to find that initial ball through the midfield bypass and then either play back and go back again up over the top or just turn and run. Yeah, right on cue.
You can see in the background there the additional monitor, the referee's looking at it. You can't quite see it. His back is turned. He's literally timing this with a stopwatch. Got to go old-fashioned here. Picking it up from 30-24 when play resumed. Just ticking it off with a stopwatch to see what the clock needs to be reset to. If you're Mike Noonan, you're probably not happy about this. It's a malfunction that you can't control, but your team was rolling. You had the goal. You've got a corner coming where Furman were on their heels. Just have to wait for the officials to let us know exactly how much additional time has to come off the clock here. Can mascots count? Gotta get some additional help here.
Well, here's the problem. They speak every language, including that of love, but they're nonverbal. So,
yes.
You know, how do you walk down and tell the referee, thou shalt not make any more mistakes, right? Hand gestures?
You learned that the hard way because at some point in your illustrious career, you wanted to put on the mascot head and
multiple
do some of the broadcasts for some fun, and that's when you were straight up told no because you can't talk with it on. It's an, unspoken rule.
There were 2 sides to it. The first part was it's a great idea. We could bring the culture of college soccer into the broadcast, and oh, by the way, we don't have to listen to you talk. The bad news is you don't have to listen to me talk. There's a give and take there, right?
I've tried to pitch this to the powers that be. We pre-record a whole open that's just us in mascot heads, and we subtitle it the whole way through.
Oh, that's a good idea.
No audio, just subtitle the whole way through.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's exactly what Mike Noonan and Brandon Tucker want. Open
Mike
the season
Noonan
up.
And Brandon Tucker might want less of you talking. That's the whole point here. We'd be okay with that. They'd give it the green light.
Well, we've yet to address what the dry cleaning bill would be in this heat, which certainly you got to give a lot of respect to the players coming out of preseason. Guys are together for 6 weeks. Yeah, you get some of them back in January, but there's a break there. 6 dedicated weeks, a ton of conditioning, but the level of competition, you cannot replicate that until you get in to competition matches.
We've gotten to the bottom of this mystery. We're told 1:57 needs to come off the clock. So once they reset the clock, we can take the corner and we could be on our way again. Glad to have you with us this evening on the ACC Network alongside the ex-German pro Devin Kerr. I am Joe Malfa. Quick start for Clemson. New era, sort of. A lot of turnover on this roster. Almost 50% of the roster new. Of the returnees, only 7 were considered regulars from this group. And it's 2 of the newcomers combining on that first goal. Breno Correa, the assist for Johannes Kaeck. Transfer in Correa, the freshman, albeit an experienced 20-year-old freshman, and Johannes Kaeck opening his account for the Clemson Tigers. Referees did their part. They did the math. They know exactly how much time should be on the clock. Now it's up to the operator. The holdup still is just the issue with mechanically fixing the clock. It's not taking any of the spirit out of this crowd, though. Flags have still been waving. Drum is still being beaten. Crowd that has continued to grow along the way. There's a fantastic promotion tonight, by the way, Devin. The dorms, the freshmen just moved in this week. The dorm that had the most attendees tonight gets a free tailgate sponsored by the school for the next home game. So that's why you're seeing this crowd slowly amass more and more. You've got that incentive of a free tailgate. Who would say no to that? Not me.
And we're back at it.
After much ado, they're keeping time on the field. They couldn't quite keep it, so pay no attention to our clock. It'll be kept on the field right now. Whipped in finally from the corner after all of that. Bodies flying in the box. Swing and a miss from near midfield. Going to try to keep rough time in the booth here. Got about 26 minutes remaining in this half. You see the clock ticking down, but it's, again, not official. They're trying to fix it still. It was malfunctioning. But we were told 26:20 is where it resumed from. Munson gives it away. Gyan, Kaeck lays it off. Menacing again from the Tigers, laid off for Jimenez. Feels like every time they get the ball and go, there is a threat to score.
Now the problem is the Tigers are pushing high, and within that Furman are pinned in. They're trying to find the space on the far side of the field, but they don't have that pivot point in the midfield because the release is too slow. But with the advanced numbers for the Clemson Tigers, you apply pressure, turnover, and you're off and running. I'll tell you, you talk about new players coming in, figuring out what the tendencies are with other guys around them. Kaeck's gonna be dangerous up top. I mean, that's a couple of times now I've looked up and I'm like, release it. And he's a bit slow or the run's a bit off, but it's there.
Ransford Gyan now, pocket of space. Ransford Gyan deflected through. He can't believe it. Duquesne keeps it alive. Rolls it back. Cleared only as far as Jimenez. Foul will alleviate some of the pressure now for Furman, who have struggled in the early going here with 24.5 minutes remaining in this first half. There's always talk about the methodology in college soccer, the ranking system, and how the season begins. There's tradition in college soccer where the rankings in the new year pick up where the rankings in the old season left off. And with that, there's always a conversation of, all right, are they deserving of it? Furman last year, that team is what got them to the number 3 ranking. But this is a unique circumstance where the whole team is back, and this is a team that, even without that system in place, on their own merits, would possibly have been a top 5 team in the rankings this season. So this is an impressive start for Clemson, taking it to them up 1-0 and looking for more. We've got Justin Pierre making a signal here that he's coming over to look at the monitor. There was a moment in there where Kaeck, at the beginning of that attack, was taken down. I wonder if this could be something related to that denial of an obvious goal-scoring opportunity if he was pulled down, or are we just going back to the clock again? Waiting for a word from the field.
I was wondering when the ball came back across from Ransford Gyan, did it hit someone's hand? I mean, this is frustrating as a player because it stopped, it start, it stop, it start. It's really difficult to establish any momentum if you're on the Furman side. Any confidence.
Justin St. Pierre over to the monitor. see exactly what he is calling for to look at.
So remember, 2 notable rule changes coming into the year. You're able to make 2 video review challenges per match. The referees can initiate a review at any time for timing issues for the ball crossing the end line. All other review requires a coach's challenge, which is what Mike Noonan has initiated here. Left side of your screen, the hand away from the body. That's Ryan Wagner against Johannes Kaeck. I don't see enough in it there. He's kind of reaching out away from his body, but that's what Mike Noonan is going for with his challenge here.
There's the play that I alluded to before, where at the beginning of that buildup, Kaeck was pulled down. Was there a lot of contact? No. Was it enough contact? Maybe. And the fact that there's such
it's subjective
question of subjectivity in that. Is it clear and obvious? Probably not. Should it stand as was called? Probably. Justin St. Pierre calling the coaches over. We're told it was an unsuccessful challenge, so play on. No red card. Direct free kick coming out for Furman. And there's a signal from Justin St. Pierre. So the way this works, again, with this new rule change, coaches get 2 challenges each. You lose it whether you get it right or you get it wrong. Some other sports, you get it right, you keep it, you get a bonus one. There's none of that here. If you use your challenge is gone, whether it's successful or unsuccessful. So Clemson down to 1, Furman still with 2. Clock still not working in stadium. Officials keeping it on field. 24-16 is what is on the clock right now. 24-16 is where the referees will be starting from.
2 big takeaways. Number 1, that is the correct decision. You and I would both agree it. There's not enough in it. Also, Kaeck and Wagner, they're still going at it behind the scenes. Yeah. They're having a fun little conversation after the fact.
Rivalry reignited. First time in 7 years between these 2 programs. Coaches really let their players know, educate them on some of that history. And even if not for the history itself, just the competitive nature of these 2 teams. Clemson looking to get back on top. Furman, unfinished business of losing in the College Cup last year in the semifinal. That alone, enough to set the table for the competition, for the extras in this game. Ransford Gyan called for the foul this time. The clock in stadium is up and running again. The officials are still keeping the official time, but we have more of a ballpark guide now, counting down from 23:30. Physical so far. 5 fouls committed by Clemson.
I wouldn't mind seeing some of this pressure coming off of this defensive group from Furman. Open it up, play a little bit more direct up over the top, just reset your defensive line. You know, utilize the width to your advantage, but also understand you don't want to put your fullbacks in unnecessary spots where the pressure on turnovers becomes too difficult to handle. You can also play them a little bit tighter, work in possession, push the wingers high. There's ways to work through the space. They're just kind of hitting it with hope right now.
Here's a name we haven't called yet, really, Diego Hernandez. The less he's on the ball, the better it is for Clemson. Furman needs to get him involved. He is their creative piece, whether it's the goal scoring in his runs out of the midfield, set pieces, or the distribution for others. Everything flows through Hernandez.
So let's stay with the initial thought of getting him more involved in the run of play. The wingers, whether that's represented by your outside backs and the wingers are narrow, or your wingers play wide and your outside backs help in possession. You get them high and wide. You get the 9 very active, putting pressure on that back 4. What does that do? Frees up space in front of the defensive unit for the Clemson Tigers. That's where Diego Hernandez starts to come into the game.
You wonder, too, when the coaches might start dipping into their benches here with subs in this first half. A free kick coming for Furman. Referee Justin St. Pierre has kept a very tight leash on this game, not only with the cards, but also the foul calls.
It's a little bit weak for me, too. And then again, he's called it tight throughout the course of the night.
subs being ready now by Furman. And it's a sub that we came to know very often last year. We'll get there in a moment. First, a free kick for the Paladins. Hernandez whipping it all the way through. Long run to keep it in play. And it is out for a goal kick after the referees confirm. For Bustamante receiving the instructions from Brandon Tucker. That was the system in place last year. We had a chance to chat with Caleb Johnson and Wilfred Bustamante before College Cup. It's a system that both relish. Caleb Johnson appreciated the role of the workhorse and tiring out back lines, and Bustamante relished coming in and making the most of that, picking up the pieces and scoring the goals he scored.
It certainly felt like team first mentality that was authentic. Not just words being thrown around for the cameras at Men's College Cup. Deep group here, a lot of belief within them. It just rattled early on, and certainly what seems to be some stabilization, especially in the attacking end, to help create more control up high for Brandon Tucker and Furman.
I know you like to stay out of the weeds sometimes on the refereeing. Do you think the leash is too tight right now from Justin St. Pierre?
It's affecting the game overall. It's way too tight. Just let him go a little bit. Listen, there's contact on lower body there, but you could let it play out. The challenge on the other side, you could let it go here. I think there's an ebb and flow that just isn't accessible for any of the players right now. That's really frustrating. And here's what ends up happening. If it continues in this fashion, that frustration in the moment starts to become more aggressive. Players start to police themselves, and the frustration with the referee spills onto the field to play against opposition.
Ransford Gyan couldn't get the return ball back for Kaeck. One back though. Good press from Duquesne. Jimenez spotting Okunlola, chipping it through. Okunlola out for a corner. So Ryan Reed came into the match for Grayson Travis. Wilfred Bustamante for Wesley Siegel. So we will see Bustamante and Johnson out there together in this look instead of one sub for the other, as was typically the case last season. Ryan Reed became a starter last year after Wesley Siegel's injury 5 games in. So now he returns to the field for the first time. Since then, back in his role, first off the bench. Third corner for Clemson. Ransford Gyan whips it in near post, still loose. Salinas went down, finally getting back to his feet. Okunlola chipping it along, flip toward goal, still loose there. It was Magnuson rising above the rest.
Just all hands on deck right now for Furman, body after body, trying to recover, find a way to play out of the pressure. A little bit slow though in their reaction points. When you've gone this long throughout a half, it's about survival, getting into the dressing room.
From the long throw, player down behind the play for Furman. Referee will stop play. And you see on your screen there's a clock malfunction. Time is being kept on the field. It's unofficially on the scoreboard still in stadium at 17:51 remaining in this first half. The official time being kept by the referee. And what has been a clunky first half between the lengthy clock review and then the challenge from Clemson. It's taken some of the rhythm out of this game, which maybe suits Furman, because when this game was flowing, Clemson chance after chance, wave after wave of the attack.
I would agree with that. The stop-start nature, the physical side of the game, overall does favor the Paladins. I would also say this about the identity of this group that was last year, and it's relevant because it's so many familiar faces, right? 15 of their 16 appearance leaders return into this 2026 team. Very clear, every game was a one-game season. And we hear that all the time. It's thrown around. The next 90 minutes, blah, blah, blah. Getting an opportunity to witness it in person, shake these young men's hands, talk to the coaching staff. I don't know if I've ever been more bought in on it, right? And you could feel the intensity of what was the next play, the next sequence, the next tackle. So even though it's been troublesome in the first half and they're down 1-0, a ton of talent just trying to get themselves into halftime.
Highlight reel stuff from Ransford Gyan. Doesn't amount to anything yet. Oklahoma keeps it alive. There's Ransford Gyan over the bar. It started with him and almost ended with him.
So within all that, as you continue to chase the game, this is the man that you're all chasing because of the freedom that head coach Mike Noonan gives him. Starts about 10 yards prior when he plays the ball down into the corner, and then just look at him sit in the pocket, left side of your screen. So smart, his IQ. If he attacks it too early, that space is eliminated. If he's delayed, you're not going to be able to get him on the cutback because defensively, Furman have retreated. He is such an incredible timing player in the most tightest knit moments in this match.
And through it all, Ransford Gyan, the biggest thing that Mike Noonan has to say about him, humble.
Yeah.
Leader on this team, cares so much more about his teammates than himself. In recent months, Kwaku Ajibang drafted MLS, playing for Sporting Kansas City. Wahab Mensah signed by Villarreal, taking his career abroad. And Ransford Gyan, happier for them than more than he cares about anything about his own career.
Midfield, more of a responsibility this year because of their desire to play through him. And that was a good look at it, right? I understand it's on a break. They probably expected a little bit deeper and smaller spaces, but you give him space and time, it's only going to benefit the holding midfielder for Furman.
15 minutes remaining, roughly, in this first half. Only Justin St. Pierre officially knows. Clock being kept on the field. Kaeck delivering. Nobody making that run. Comes all the way through. A couple of times that's happened now for Clemson. Ball played in, nobody crashing. It's moments like that Mike Noonan, in this first half of the first game of the season, would like to probably clean up. Maybe leaving some meat on the bone as far as another goal or two that could have been had in this first half. More changes now coming from Furman. No subs used yet by Clemson. Two of the younger players on this Furman team set to check in. Gianluca Rizzo and the freshman David Villavicencio. Also, Trip Campbell being sent to the halfway line. You mentioned it early. This is a Furman team, Devin, that is not afraid to go deeper into the bench. They last year went about 15, 16 deep, and it's about the same number this year with about the whole team returning. So we're seeing some of that depth on display in this first half. Up toward Johnson, pressured by Stevenson. Johnson navigating. Stout. Dunham. Really haven't seen him much in the distribution, Brandon Dunham. Certainly capable of it. 7 goals, 3 assists last year, up off the back line. And a free kick now for the Paladins.
That's good control on the back end of this, but they also missed their shot here. And, you know, when you get pinned in, I love how they play high into Bustamante, but a ton of space as the field starts to shift to the opposite side. There's a good look from Caleb Johnson. Don't be afraid to hit that ball, especially when you're 50 yards in and pick your head up, stick it on the diagonal, and let the speed of the winger be utilized to your advantage. They're starting to work themselves into the game here, Furman, and just recognizing those tight-knit moments a little bit more clearly will certainly benefit them in the long run.
Caleb Johnson gets a much-needed break. In the meantime, puts in so much work up top. Trip Campbell replaces Villavicencio, replacing Connor Stout. And it's Gabe Cox who departs for Gianluca Rizzo in the midfield. Gyan taken down, play on, says the referee. Kaeck through.
Yeah, nice job, though. Look at the center back, right where he needed to be.
Whip toward goal and saved by Salinas.
You're good, though. It feels theatrical, but that's really good positioning by the center back and Braden Dunham, and actually tried to play his player in front of him. Good positioning by Salinas on the back end of it. You'll take that. right? You'll take that any day of the week, considering the space they've conceded on the outside and centrally inside the 18. Find your wins, create some confidence, one foot in front of the other.
And if you're Salinas too, you'll take a save like that to get you back into it. 2024 SoCon Goalkeeper of the Year. So much hype around him going forward. Injury cost him all of last year. To get a save like that under your belt in this moment, crucial. Kaeck tracking this one down, gets in behind Kaeck, brought down. Ball still loose. What's the decision? It's a foul against Kaeck coming out the other way.
Well, there's no argument here, at least not from our angle. Because you talk about the confidence for the goalkeeper. I love the viewpoint. I look at it the other way. I think it's the confidence for the group in front of him. Hey, I got you, right? If it breaks down, don't worry, I got your back. And this is a really good example. Salinas has got to be quicker on the draw when the ball comes direct up over the top. I'd like to see him off his line a little bit faster. But even when it doesn't go his way to start, does a really good job of closing down the space to eliminate the threat. And long ball up over the top, possessionally, more aggressive from Furman. How clean is that? It's so difficult from a defender up over the shoulder. Luke Munson can't read it. I don't see it there, right? Goalkeeper off. He may have a tiny argument from the hand over the shoulder, but
right
I'd make the argument he starts to lean. I don't think there's enough. It's certainly not on the goalkeeper.
Right.
Certainly not on the goalkeeper. If anything, it could be the defender, possibly. And that's the argument for Mike Noonan right now.
Salinas is the innocent bystander in this whole thing. He was just there. And he got the worst of it, but he was just there.
Are you lobbying for my defenders and my goalkeepers? This is uncharted territory.
It's hard to believe because I'm half your height, but I also played the same position.
And to think they allow us to work together.
On a serious note, question-wise, if you're Mike Noonan in this new system, 2 challenges, 1 burned already, is there enough there for you to try to use that second one and hope for a penalty?
That's tough. There's more in that one than the first one.
Right.
So let's start there. You're sitting on the goal lead.
Probably save it for a bigger moment later in the game.
Again, like the viewpoint of it, is it do you kind of go for the jugular just before halftime, right? Swing momentum back your way, because if so, if in fact you won that challenge, you not only have an argument for a penalty, which is what it would be, you have an argument for dogzo in the proximity for the goalkeeper, which is then we're talking about going down to 10 men. I don't personally see it there, but that's, if you're going to go that direction, that's what it would be.
Agreed. I think I'd pass that one by.
Yeah.
Although maybe you have Kaeck lobbying to his coach here to give it a challenge as he comes over. A couple of changes coming from the Tigers as well.
And there's no doubt that there's contact. There's no doubt that the hand's away. But is it enough? I mean, that's the thing, right? Is that you and I are sitting here talking now for 2 minutes. Is that clear and definitive to you? No. Also, by the way, the reason I said no to begin with, Mike Noonan barely got up out of his seat after that. So I have the bird's eye view vantage point. I can see him.
We typically know.
In the technical area.
We typically know when he disagrees with the call, because he is halfway down the line. 4 changes made in there by the Clemson Tigers. We'll get those to you momentarily. Fresh legs before the end of this first half, and some freshmen who are out there as well. Christian Scott making his debut. Coming out there, Ransford Gyan taking a seat. Jake Bassinet, another freshman, making his debut for the Tigers. Xander Sevian, one of the big recruits from last year, made 13 appearances as a freshman, came in as the Gatorade National Player of the Year. He makes his 2026 debut, and Cooper Heinlein, one of their other prize freshmen from last year, only played 8 games. He comes in as well. Devin, in case this first half needed anything else, by the way, the clock on the scoreboard stopped again, so we are officially at the liberty of Justin St. Pierre. We have no idea officially how much time is left in this first half. Time enough, though, for Furman to find something in this first half. There's roughly 9.5 minutes left, we're told. The way this first half has gone, I do question whether it'll be done by the time we get to College Cup. It's been that kind of first 45 minutes.
Should have taken the hourly rate. Oh. This is what happens when I let you represent me. Contract negotiations.
We're going to have a special guest coming up at halftime as well. We told him to come up with about 5 minutes left in the half. We just don't know how much time there actually is left. Spoiler alert, it's Doug Allison, former head coach of the Furman Paladins. He'll be joining us at halftime. Villavicencio looking upfield, his first touches, the freshman coming from Hartford Athletic System in USL Championship. Very excited, Brandon Tucker, about Villavicencio and how he as a freshman can impact things. Hutzel.
That's a nice touch there. Now work into the channel. So a little bit slow again, right? But we keep talking about finding wins, and I love the combination play to the near touchline. Hutzel trying to find the space down in the width of the field. But now in the moment, the emotion, it's about body positioning. Can you open up a half second sooner to continue the play instead? The touch back inside closes it off. But if you're on the touchline right now, you're happy it's 1-0, right? Because it could be worse, to be fair. And if you're Mike Noonan, yeah, you've got the goal, but it's early. And if anything, the pressure has subsided as the first half has gone on.
That goal came all the way back in the 9th minute, which feels like an eternity of goal now. Johannes Kaeck with his first career. As a freshman for Clemson. Assist from Kaeck, his debut for the Tigers after the last 3 years at Gardner-Webb. Hernandez touching it along. Okunlola recovers. Almost lost it, but slipped it through. A lot of space on this left side, taken off the chest by Sevian. Xander Sevian still with it past Munson. Sevian end line, delivering a good ball. Header away from frame, well defended. Looks like Ryan Wagner tracking back on it. Roughly 7 minutes remaining in this first half. 6 shots for Clemson to just 1 of Furman. Number 3 team in the nation to begin this season. College Cup participants last year. Sevian slipping it through. Cooper Highline giving it back. Saved by Salinas.
It's very clear they can attack and do it quickly. Nice little cutback, and this is tough though from Kaeck in the 9th position. Look, you're already in the pocket, and as you release here, this ball's always going to be behind you. It's the numbers in front of you defensively. Such a tight seam to work through to try and find that trailing run atop the 6. It's impressive just to even get a touch on it. Good positioning by the goalkeeper.
Duquesne eating up space here. Duquesne still heading it along. Looking for a bicycle kick. Cooper Highline never fell for him. Kaeck, easy save, Salinas. We're just learning about Kaeck. We're seeing him for the first time in person. Every time that ball comes his way, he wants to go at goal. It's been clear in this first half. And he found the goal 9 minutes in. A lot of the physicality in this first half has gone one way. 11 Clemson fouls, 3 Furman fouls. It's what we were told to expect. 7 years since we last saw the Upstate Derby. Mike Noonan and Brandon Tucker expected a lot of this, expected it to be heated because of the rivalry, because of what it means for these two teams in the grand scheme of things this season. Villavicencio, calm from the freshman going back to Dunham. About 5 minutes left in this first half. Slip through Hernandez, cutting it back. Bustamante going for goal at that near post. Wrong side of the post, but better from the Paladins.
Yeah, much better overall. Like to see that run out of the 9 spot from Bustamante. Drag the backline space with him. force the center backs to commit, but good patience when it doesn't matriculate on the first go-around. He was impressive in the interview at College Cup, right? Didn't care about the role that he was playing. Neither good nor bad. That's just, I'm here, right? I got a job to do. It's the team mentality that we talked about right around the half-hour mark, that no player bigger than the rest, regardless of all conference, the youth national team experience. They were all focused on one goal. That was the best way to get a result against their opponent.
Starting to find Hernandez more. That's something that was hard to come by in the first 30-35 minutes of this game. Just looking out wide on the switch for Ryan Reed. Offside, Reed. In terms of production, those are the two big players. You mentioned Bustamante relishing that role off the bench. 8 goals and 9 assists last season as that super sub. Hernandez, the team leader, 10 goals, 9 assists. Seeing more of them linking up going into the second half will be crucial if Furman's going to find a way back into this game on the score sheet. Magnuson. Jimenez switching. Heinlein brings it down. Sevian turns. Xander Sevian, quick feet, lays it off. Jimenez blocked on the way through. Duquesne. About 3 minutes remaining in this first half.
Nice
Uncharacteristic
ball.
giveaway.
Put it in the corner. Well done.
Trip Campbell cut off. Loki Stevenson made a mess of that. He tripped over it on the sideline. And it's out for a Furman throw.
That's just athleticism by a center back who reads this a mile away. And you and I have this view up and back where you can see the whole field and you can see that ball coming in the combo down into the corner. But so could Floki. Great reaction by the left center back from Clemson.
Decision making has been quicker from Furman. It feels like they're finding themselves now in this first game of the season.
The space is there, right? I mean, right around the 20-minute, space is there. Better rotation off the ball. Again, you got to punch back a little bit here. You just can't allow Clemson to continue to come at you. Nice ball there.
Dunham whipping that one in at the back post. Saved. Foul called before then. Alexei Janic showed the athleticism to get there, but a foul against Furman.
This is a really dangerous, tough ball to handle as a defender when Dunham hits this. So it's curving towards you. It's also working to the back post. And as the defensive line comes high, you're trying to then react, come in the opposite direction, while also accounting for the attacking runs coming by Furman.
Not much of an argument either. Foul on Bustamante. Came to the back of the defender. It won't go down on the stat sheet, but it's good athleticism from Yanni. It's showing what's in his repertoire. Missed all of last season again. Had a torn labrum that he played through in Marshall's run to College Cup in 2024. Decided to get the surgery and sit out last season because he wouldn't have been available until mid-October. Kept the eligibility, sat out the whole season, and now transfers this year to Clemson. Villavicencio taking his space, knocked down by Okunlola. Jimenez scanning. Jimenez. Final minute of this first half. Stevenson. Duquesne gets it back. 45 seconds remaining now. A little bit of everything in this first half. Physical play, clock malfunction, reviews, coaches' challenges, which are new this season. And the goal for Clemson 9 minutes in. First half that took about an hour of real time. In a way, good for Furman. Allowed them to stabilize. After that last lengthy stoppage, when Salinas went down injured in that collision, they came out of that completely different. Final 10 seconds being counted down. Maybe one last look though for the Tigers. Fed ahead. Last look at goal blocked. That'll do it in this first half. Clemson takes a 1-0 lead into the break on the #3 team in the nation, the Furman Paladins. at historic Riggs Field, and we are underway in half number 2 alongside Devin Kerr. I'm Joe Malfa. Happy to have you with us as we kick off the season on the ACC Network. This crowd that's 2 hours left, the student section, has just continued to grow and grow throughout the day, throughout the evening rather. Freshmen just came to campus this week, school's in session, and little by little it's grown. There's been fans on the berm on the far side hanging over there now. On the far side, the stands have filled up as the evening has gone along to welcome in the new season. Mason Jimenez from the free kick, angled toward the back post, knotted down, loose still, blasted toward goal, deflected wide, still in play. Back to Okunlola, scooped through again, and the foul called. There's been no goalkeeper substitution, by the way. The referees just made Aaron Salinas put on a black shirt. The red was too close to the orange after the first half, so it's still Salinas in goal.
Are you looking at me, looking at my board, making sure?
That's literally it. I saw you out of the corner of my eye, looking to see to make sure if it was still him. So that was as much for you as it was for the people at home.
Oh.
Don't never say I did anything nice for you.
Even a blind squirrel.
Still no Ransford Gyan on the field to begin this second half for Clemson. They typically, going back to last year with the substitution rules, will give him a longer rest and then bring him in for the rest of the game. To be honest, the players who came in for Clemson before the break made their presence felt. The likes of Xander Sevian, Cooper Heinlein, up there on that top line with fresh legs. Villavicencio.
That's a nice turn there. Keep going.
Freshman continues his run. Villavicencio toward goal and snatched by Yanich. Like what we've seen so far in a small sample size from Villavicencio.
He's done well. Hey, listen, they struggled. Furman Paladins did in the first half with the outside back position, defensive pressure, positioning overall, and then when they were able to withstand some of the threats coming by Clemson, being able to quickly move off the back line to attack the space.
Villavicencio. Dunham pings it through. Reed. There's the overlap from Villavicencio. He wins that foot race against Okunlola, but Okunlola, the senior, does well to gain position back again. Still Villavicencio squirts through. Reed. Yanich let it go. He initially came off his line. Good decision. Duquesne had it covered. Pressured by Gabe Cox, who was subbed back in. He was taken off before halftime. To the end line, blasted through. Yanich has it. A fervent start from Furman, lively compared to really anything they showed in that first half.
They're working outside in, spread the Clemson Tigers, and then good presence up high. Trying to work through the seams. I think if anything, as they continue to grow within this game, you still need more activity level from the 9 position. It was Campbell, Bustamante.
Here's Sevian, just ran out of play. There's a couple of players on this Clemson team that you were looking to make a jump from year 1 to year 2. Sevian maybe leads that list. The sophomore from Boulder, Colorado, played in 13 games last year. 2025 Gatorade National Player of the Year before he joined the Tigers. You could go down the list of some of those other freshmen turned sophomores for Clemson, but it's really Sevian they're hoping to make the leap. And it's Floki Stevenson who's drawn the ire of the referee here. Looks like he's going into the book. Yellow shown. Mason Jimenez also has a yellow on the Clemson side. It's Connor Stout with the yellow in the first half from Furman. So 3 total yellows around the board.
It's a clever touch. Advanced position from the center back. Space again. Opening up. I would agree with you. And Sevian, I would also add Cooper Heinlein into that conversation. Really liked what he brought. The irony in that they both come from the same club team in Real Colorado. Second-year sophomores for the Clemson Tigers.
Yeah, it's usually Montverde Academy that
Yeah.
raids. Broadening that now to Real Colorado, and now an opportunity on a free kick again for Furman. It's the other center back, Lucas Magnuson, who's being beckoned over by Justin St. Pierre now.
Magnuson not happy. That was very clear right away. He came up over the back, and I don't really know what the argument is. Knees high, doesn't go straight up. It's always going to be a foul. Probably fortunate he doesn't pick up a yellow, to be fair.
Maybe he thinks he was undercut, but that look makes it clear. He initiated everything over the top.
Yeah, the player himself doesn't back in.
It's Caleb Johnson who fell underneath that back out there. Remember, he subbed off late in that first half. Put in a terrific shift. The pressure he brings up top. And he puts on the opposition. It's Wesley Siegel standing over the free kick, who's also back out there. So a lot of the Furman players who were subbed off in the first half begin this second half on the field again. Dunham always trying to surprise and go for goal. The one-man wall knocked it down. Dunham clips it through, still flicked on, but Janic has it. Whatever was said in the locker room from Brandon Tucker, it's worked so far. Furman look a completely different team, and they're right back at it again. Under Mike Noonan, Clemson 162, 14 and 17 when scoring first.
It's just rude.
They've been outstanding at home, but
wild.
last year they got away from it a little bit. They were only 7-4-1 at home last year. They only had 2 losses the previous 2 seasons. They want to get back on track. Okunlola now looking for another. Glance through at the back post. Oh, saved by Salinas. Almost an own goal. Quick reflexes kept it out. Edge of the area. Time for a hit, laid off instead. Contact there, waved off by the referee. Had a good view of it as Sevian went down. And now a foul against Clemson. Now this game has a completely different aura to it now in this second half. We've ratcheted it up a few notches. Furman wanted to take the free kick quickly so that Clemson couldn't challenge it, but it looks like Clemson's going to challenge that and look for a penalty.
Oh, that's as tight as it comes. Right at the 18. I mean, the margin for error is so slim on this contact. I certainly couldn't tell in the moment. You and I are pretty definitive in our opinions on it, and that was really tight-knit in nature.
My first instinct was penalty. I'm curious to see it again.
A lot of bodies there. There's a lot of moving pieces for... Get touch back across.
I stand by it.
I'll tell you what, does he actually hit his foot, or did his foot come over and his foot got stuck? That's the only thing I would say.
Mike Noonan popped right out of his seat. This is the look they're showing the referee right there, left foot of the defender, Vicencio.
You're convinced that he hits his foot?
From that angle, I think he does. To your point, he could have gotten stuck in the ground. This is what the referees are calling for and looking at right now themselves. So you're seeing what they're seeing. From this angle, it's tough to tell. what's at hand here. Did his foot get stuck in the ground? Did he get a hit by Villavicencio?
And the reason that I wonder if his foot gets stuck is because of the way that it rolls out and it turns. Usually, when a contact is created, the player's momentum will either come down or the foot will come forward. Watch his right foot. As he steps in front there, I can't tell if he's hit from behind or as his foot comes down. See, he's dragging. Look at the foot behind. That's really, really tough.
I'm almost surprised, and again, I'm not exactly sure what they're privy to. I'm surprised Justin St. Pierre hasn't called for a different angle. There may be a camera somewhere else.
Which is what you and I are talking about. You may not be privy to it.
This is the look. Maybe this is where you'll see it if there's contact. This is the look I thought we'd get. Is there contact? Contact, yeah, I stand by. Penalty.
Where?
Right there. Right there on his foot. His shin on his foot, and that's what turns it into the ground. I stand by it.
I think you're very gratuitous. His foot, that's incidental on the bottom. That's on the bottom end. That's tough, man. He also establishes after the fact.
Right there. That's it. For me, penalty. It's up to Justin St. Pierre.
Oh, I certainly don't envy the referee's decision, that's for sure.
You'll know instantaneously because you'll see the reaction of Mike Noonan, who wears the emotions on his sleeve.
Here's my one thing about it. I get your viewpoint. When he comes across, and there is... Watch his body.
Right there, that's it.
Watch his body. Hang on. Incidental contact can happen. Hang on, I'm not saying there. Watch his body. As it starts to roll through, and then he leans after. My issue is this. If the contact is there, and that could be considered incidental contact, and he's upright and then leans.
But
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying that the viewpoint that's objective in the moment. I can see a referee pointing to a penalty. You and I have also been in games where the referee says no.
Agreed, but for me, I'm not looking at that upright body contact at all.
Have to.
It's only the shin on the leg. That's
have
it.
to.
The shin on the leg. Everything else after that is unnecessary.
I get it, and I see why they could. I also see why he couldn't.
Here's a decision. You'll know from the coach's reactions.
He's calling it.
It's going to be a penalty.
He's going to give it, isn't he? Yeah.
Penalty. So the first successful coach's challenge from Mike Noonan. Now remember, you lose the challenge whether you win it or lose it. So he's no challenges the rest of the game, but he challenged, it's successful, and now Clemson have a chance to take a 2-0 lead from the spot.
I can read the lips if you want me to. Something about soft in there. We'll leave it that way. I'll tell you what, I had the exact same situation happen. Hudson River Derby, New York City Red Bulls. Ball was moving, same exact direction, nearly identical contact, and they didn't call it a pen. And that's at the senior level in MLS. So I get both sides.
I agree. Everything body-wise afterwards is tough, but it's that leg contact first that they called officially the tripping offense. So it's Mason Jimenez stepping up to the spot with a chance to make it 2-0. Had 1 goal last year. Salinas looking to come up big in goal. Mason Jimenez scores, and the Clemson Tigers double the lead.
It's tough. It's a tough one. As tight as it comes. Challenge or not, I do not envy the referee. Recycling to the 18 when he comes down into the pocket. Great touch to get away from the pressure. Referee says yes, that contact, the leg comes through. Work to be done, no problem. Nice penalty by Mason Jimenez. Just pushes through. Goalkeeper confused, hips are open. Chauvin Avenue, but powers through it to restore solid momentum for the Tigers at the start of the second half.
And to that point, that's what's maybe most crucial, because the first few minutes of this second half had been all Furman.
Oh, yeah.
They had been pressing, and they were knocking on the door for that. Right now for Furman is when number 10 in orange comes back on the field. In this now very open game, when Ransford Gyan returns, he will be licking his chops.
What a ball that is, dear Lord.
Long run to get there. Sevian does. Sevian delivering too much.
I think Christmas has come early with that distribution. 50-yard bullet on a dime.
Between that and Dunham on the other side, this has become your World Cup final.
Oh, yeah.
The center back distribution.
You think Ransford Gyan's licking his chops? I'm not five-star white glove dinner sitting back here. These kids can play, and he's in.
And there's the athleticism from Stevenson cutting it off after the distribution a moment ago. Dangerous ball back. Salinas didn't get there. And it's just wide.
That's a beautiful read. Jumps the route quickly. How did he pull out of it? I mean, he's on the sniff the whole way. If you follow through here, you're going to get taken down. Did it just come a bit narrow on the touch? I don't know if that's fear of the goalkeeper's steps or the goalkeeper doing you a favor by pulling out of it.
It's junior Duncan Wilson with the read. Duquesne looking to turn. Kaeck brought down. Play on. Magnuson. Okunlola. Magnuson switching, settled, offside. Breno Correa has had his moments in this one. Got the assist on the opening goal 9 minutes in that he might have mishit, but it still got to where it was supposed to go. He's had space, he's had time, he's created. Senior from Brazil, last 3 years at Gardner-Webb. His first team all-conference last year, second team all-conference the year before that. Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, tune back into the ACC network as number 7 Michigan State rolls into Chapel Hill to take on number 8 North Carolina in an early season women's soccer match. We are back week in, week out now on the ACC network. Men's soccer, women's soccer, we've got you covered. The assistant referee said the ball was out of play way back behind the play. Vicencio. Hutzel. Switching. Oh, ran out of steam, but still just barely got to Gabe Cox. Couldn't do anything with it, though. Turning upfield, Martin back in. Still Bakken taking the space afforded to him. Martin Bakken looking for goal. It's blocked. Still on. Chance for three. Putting this one away. Xander Sevian. All Tigers tonight.
The run right through Route 1 is what opens everything up for the Clemson Tigers. Great release coming out of the midfield. Bakken nice and deep, and I love how he just continues his run here, drawing pressure in. No panic. Should have played it down into the corner, but gets fortunate off the bounce. And now you're talking about trailing runs. Kaeck and Sevian, great job. Again, another weak side run that has affected Ryan Wagner. Coming over that back shoulder, near impossible to judge. Great timing off the deflection, and near perfect to finish by the sophomore. Just talking about one of the best assets this team can take advantage of in year 2. Sevian and Hideline. Sevian steps up and just fully removes any hope for Furman.
Drew the penalty. Mason Jimenez converted it. Sevian scores the goal. It's his first career. He didn't score in his 13 appearances last year as a freshman. But again, the excitement was there. There was hope that he would make that leap in year 2. We didn't see him in the starting lineup tonight. There's a lot of turnover on that front line for Clemson outside of Ransford Gyan. Something tells me we'll be seeing a lot more of Xander Sevian as this season goes on. Hold up is Wagner, hurt behind the play, is finally rejoined.
And by the way, you could talk tactics, momentum, all that stuff. There's also, in the best of ways, the element of luck that comes in off the deflection of the ball. That's the way the night has gone for Furman, right? Just didn't bounce your way in the moment.
Johannes Kaeck, Mason Jimenez, Xander Sevian. A newcomer freshman, an old guard in the midfield, a rising sophomore. That's really a testament to what this team is going to be this year for Clemson. A few tentpole players was the word we used in the conversation with Mike Noonan ahead of this game. Those tentpole players, your whole back line, Duquesne, Stevenson, Magnuson, Okunlola, and the midfield Jimenez, and up top Ransford Gyan. Everybody else, question mark. What would they bring? A lot of potential, a lot of talent, but outside of the tentpole guys, who would step up? You've got it from your tentpole guy in Jimenez. Gyan has been terrific tonight, went in. And the new guys stepping up as well. How about that move? Taken end line, chance for a fourth.
Like that ball.
Nice touch. Johnson with a chance. End line, whips it through. Something still on now for the Paladins. Weaving through toward goal off the post. No luck in that moment for Furman.
That's great work rate. Ready to cut back across. Pressure a little bit slow. Love the strike into the bottom corner.
Arthur Duquesne showing the yellow.
Notice where that initial chance came from, though. And that was Caleb Johnson up top of the 9, stretching. Furman have struggled with that tonight. You know, really having that presence to create separation between Floki, Lucas Magnuson on the back line, find some of the channel runs. Let the support come up from underneath.
Diego Hernandez coming back in for Grayson Travis. They need him to spark something, anything. Down 3-0. It's unfortunately familiar territory for Furman from the last time we saw them in that College Cup semifinal. Losing to eventual national champions Washington. They were down 3-0 before they finally pulled the goal back through Luke Hutzel. Different situation here. Back then, their season on the line. Here, the season just getting started. If in the next 31 minutes you just find a goal or two to build momentum into the next game, that's something you'll take positive, even though the result not going your way tonight. Okunlola driving at this back line, lays it off. Duncan Wilson cutting it in, lays it off. Sevian looking for another, and has another!
Was the conversation heading into the dressing room with head coach Mike Noonan? We're impatient. We're taking one touch when we need two. Tempo needs to be better. Understand when we need to rotate and keep it. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I present to you this masterpiece. I mean, it's a joke on the underlap by Okunlola. Still representation on the width. The willingness to hold. The touch pass to the top of the 18. The finish by Sevian. That's perfect from Clemson.
We see so much growth in this game, players year 1 to year 2. And if tonight is any indication, Xander Sevian is going to put his name up in lights this season. 2025 Gatorade Player of the Year. Didn't click for him as a freshman, adjusting to the college game. Might have clicked in the sophomore year. Incredibly small sample size. It's been an hour, and even less so because he didn't sub in till the last few minutes of that first half. But what a showing it's been from the sophomore. A night where we've seen some ranked teams fall already. Furman on their way to defeat. Starting this season ranked number 3. We saw Virginia lose 2-1 against UCLA, number 11 team in the country. Georgetown, the number 5 team in the country, tied against North Carolina. That's a good shout
nice
to begin the season for
early.
UNC. 24th ranked UConn defeated by Syracuse. They feel like a wild card this year in the landscape of the ACC. It feels like for a team that made it to the ACC semifinals last year and Carey, that they could build on it this year. Syracuse, nice win for them against a ranked team to begin the season. Difficult start for Pitt, losing 2-1 against Maryland. Other
uncharted territory for this Furman team. Again, the group that made the Men's College Cup, lost in the semifinal last year. Eventual national champions Washington. Only gave up 3 goals twice. Third round of the NCAA tournament against Hofstra, one of the best attacking teams in the country, electrifying on the counter. Actually won that game. Drew 3-3 in regulation, won 5-4 in penalties. The other time, when they lost to the eventual national champions and Washington Huskies. Got to go all the way back to the second round game against Marshall in 2024, the last time they conceded for that team. Marshall went to the national final. So you got to start to step back in here, ease your way in. It's not about the final 30 minutes of this game. It's about the next step and the next moment to create some belief that, sure, maybe there's a comeback of 4, but most importantly, you gain momentum heading into the next match.
Magnuson into the book. 3 members of that back line now for Clemson, all on yellows. Duquesne, Stevenson, Magnuson, and then Jimenez in the midfield. For the way last season ended against Washington and the way this season is beginning against Clemson for Furman, they are a team who played well against the big boys last year. They went unbeaten against quad 1, 2, and 3 teams. We'll talk more about that as the year goes along. The quad wins, what that means for RPI and seeding and tournament.
That's mid-late October. I got to do my homework.
Long time from now, but they weren't a team who beat up on the minnows. They beat some of the big boys, so they are a team who will get it together, you know, at some point. Hutzel, that's how he scored in College Cup. Not this time. You hear Furman, you think small school. That's just the nature of how people's minds work sometimes. But they beat the big teams last year. They beat a team that Clemson couldn't beat. Clemson lost to Western Michigan on this field in the first round of the tournament last year, which robbed us of this rivalry game in the tournament last season.
What you don't see on that resume, and that's a nice body of work, right? Outside of the loss in the semifinal. They also took down UNC Greensboro twice. Okay, decent win, UNC Asheville. Gardner-Webb earlier in the year. Then you have draws like against Duke, Virginia Tech, San Diego. All of this fully encompasses what was tremendous output in 2025, but a different year.
Threaded through. Yanni Chazin. This is going to get interesting here. Brendan Tucker is about to make wholesale changes, including in goal. Aaron Salinas has given up 4. Remember, Ivan Horvat was the starter last year in the run to College Cup. He was the 2025 SoCon Goalkeeper of the Year. Salinas was the 2024 SoCon Goalkeeper of the Year and missed all of last season due to injury. It was a battle coming in. Salinas got the nod. Now Horvat's going to sub in. You wonder what that does for a goalkeeper's confidence going forward. Hernandez through. Siegel. Space. It's the switch down that right side for Munson. Luke Munson gave it away. And then Asensio called for the foul.
Well, we certainly talked about the humble nature of some of the players for Mike Noonan. Don't necessarily think that's made its way into the peanut gallery up 4-0.
Not at all, not at all. And when that 4th goal went in, the overrated chance came out as well, which I've never understood, because if you're saying a team's overrated, it diminishes your team's win in the value in the moment, but they're not thinking right now. It's fine. There's juices flowing.
You're always a step ahead. Which is crazy given your stature, but hey.
So Horvat into the net. Long road for Salinas to get back from his injury. Something to monitor going forward. Who gets the nod in goal for Furman? To be fair, don't know how much else on the goals tonight could have been done by Salinas.
He's left out to dry in a lot of spots. As were the center backs, to be fair. I know Ryan Wagner had a tough one, but there was just so much space, and you can only be accountable for so much in those transitional moments.
Ransford Gyan and Johannes Kaeck back out there now for Clemson. As dangerous as they were in the first half, and now with a 4-goal lead. No easing off the pedal. Philip Rolka into the match for Lucas Magnuson as well. Substitution on the back line. Rolka, a player who we figure at some point may factor in as this season goes on. He's another one of those older freshmen, experienced 20-year-old, played for FC Basel's U17s in Switzerland, AC Horsens U19s in Denmark before Clemson. For a team that in the past, under Mike Noonan, has shifted as the season has evolved to use 3 center backs. Rolka figures to be that 3rd center back in the mix. Clash of the heads here from the players. Referee stops play. Players shake it off. Both seem to be all right. Great environment here this evening. 25.80, the number tonight, besting last year's average, and it's a number that grows as the season goes along, and the students get more and more settled in, and it's why the record has been so good under Coach Noonan through the years.
6,500 is the capacity. Where are they supposed to put all those people? I'm looking around going, this place is packed already.
Well, you got the parking lot back there you could watch from the railing. You got the stairs over there.
Oh, we had a similar little grassy knoll at Stetson. The angle was actually on the far side of the field, but I love behind the goal here. If anything, I'd probably be up there. There's a golf cart. I mean, you know.
Speaking of Stetson.
Cooler, bottled water, obviously.
Speaking of Stetson, I saw some black and white images of you playing for Stetson against Clemson this week.
Oh, yeah, that's... Speaking of score lines. Tough outing that day.
Usually is for opponents here at historic rigs, and the save made by Janic. We touched on it earlier. It was different last year, though. Last year they were only, and I say only, 7-4-1 at home. The previous 2 seasons, the Tigers 23-2-2 at home. So last year was a major stray from the norm. What you're seeing here is goalkeeper taking too long and the ball given over for a corner. So some of the new rule changes this year, you also saw that at the World Cup. We saw the coach's challenge earlier lead to the penalty that made it 2-0 and sparked the run for Clemson. So some things to get used to. First corner for Furman, taken short by Hernandez, now whipped in, dealt with by the Tigers. We know this team through the years has a potent attack. It was consistency on the back line last year that failed them. So more than anything right now, if you're Mike Noonan, you're probably hoping that the 11 out there can produce a clean sheet.
Or you're keeping the clean sheet and you're also watching the activity level of the substitutes that have come out. You talked about Rolka, right? One of the most difficult things to do in matches like this is to mimic the intensity in training, right? So now you've got an opportunity to put someone in a still contested match, right? There's emotion involved with it. And that emotion and energy is what comes on later in ACC play when it becomes a lot more difficult. That's not about Furman. That's just about strategically how you manage your schedule consistently. That's a bad tackle behind. So when you're up against USC Upstate, that's a different conversation than when you're playing UVA or Wake Forest or UNC. So to get a chance for guys like Rolka to feel what the environment is like, can't put a price on it if you're Mike Noonan.
This is where things get dicey in a game like this. In a rivalry game in the Upstate Derby with the score as out of hand as it is, it's up to the referee to keep things in line.
Oof. Now let's go to the other side of the ball. If I'm Brennan Tucker, coach of Furman, I want every player to feel this.
Right.
Right? It's not the end. It's just the beginning of the journey. Sure. You only lost 2 games last year, one of which was probably the most important. And I say that only because when I say probably, there was the loss early on in the season against the College of Charleston that they talked about being a turning point. It was the win against Gardner-Webb for 4-1. Gardner-Webb was number 8 in the country at that point in time. Immediately followed by the loss to Charleston.
Ransford Gyan chipping toward goal. Gyan, a rainbow. This game has had everything for Clemson but a Ransford Gyan moment, and now it has that as well.
And while we may be discussing the turning point of last year for Furman, this could be something magical for the Clemson Tigers. Capped off by the little magician himself, Ransford Gyan. These diagonal back shoulder runs have been so good all night long. Mike Noonan says with all his creativity, the individual brilliance, he is the most humble person. But I'll tell you what, times like this, he ain't human. I mean, that is just a joke of a move. Ingenuity at its finest. As I constantly tell you, Joe Malfa, that's the best player in the country.
best player in the country for a team that could possibly be the best team in the country as this season goes along if all the pieces come into place. And that's why the big question is asked every year, you and I, like we said in the first half, of Mike Noonan. Does this team have it? The answer, always, we'll see. Has to be liking what he's seeing tonight, and the first impression being made by these Clemson Tigers on 2026. Like we talked about, so many times teams are maybe wrongfully ranked to begin the season just because of, again, how college soccer does it. Last year, how things ended, so how this year things begin. You and I talked a lot with Bobby Muse last year of Wake Forest, and he hated their ranking. It was such a different team.
Even when they were number one, he didn't agree. Yeah.
Even when they were number one, he didn't agree. It was such a different team from the year
Neither
before.
did Virginia.
This is a Furman team that even without last year might have been ranked as high as they are this year because the whole team came back. They are talented. We will hear from them more. That's why tonight is stunning. Gyan whipping another one in. If you took last year out of the equation, is Furman 3? Probably not. Are they 7 or 8? Maybe. There's still a team that's a top 10 team you're talking about. That Clemson, who are unranked to begin this season, which is a rarity, are just completely playing off the pitch tonight.
I'll tell you the wildest thing to me. Just looked up at the clock and when there's 20 minutes left. You got to treat this as a growing experience for both your teams. Again, I go back to it. You find good in this game if you're Brandon Tucker. There have been moments, start of the second half. Actually finished the first decent as well. But when you've gone through a performance like this, how do you finish the game, right? True test of character. If you're Mike Noonan, the 5 is awesome. The 0's better. And defensively, as much as they struggled for consistency in 2025, some new faces. And the back 4, primarily the same. That ball is 100% outside the circle, by the way.
Taken anyway from the corner and saved by Horvat. Whipped back in by Okunlola. Horvat with it.
So the starting group kept it clean, did well for themselves, but they've got fresh face at outside back position, working into the midfield, center back with Rolka. This is where the standard that when you're brought on the recruiting trail and is talked about so frequently that you have to uphold, these are those moments. Just as much as the 0-0s and 1-0s, when you're cruising like this, can you finish the job?
Some of the numbers tonight, 17 shots to 4 for Clemson, 9 shots on target to 2. Most importantly, 5 goals to none. 4 of those goals in this second half. And the goals came in the 51st, 57th, 60th, and 68th. So the goals all in a 17-minute span for the Clemson Tigers. The teams of yesteryear that lifted trophies and 21 and 23 and ACC titles and records set along the way. Under Mike Noonan, there's always been this knack for the avalanche, the 15-minute stretch where you put 2 or 3 together. And if tonight's any indication, everybody better be on notice.
Well, there's 2 points to that. The first one is Mike Noonan talks about being humble, keeping expectations in check. He'll say, yeah, maybe. But you also have to recognize what's playing out in front of you.
Sevian. That one still in play according to the officials. Players for Furman thought it curled back in. Some changes coming for the Tigers. Augustine Asante did not appear as a freshman in 2025. An injury in preseason cost him the year. He's another one of those rising sophomores they're excited about. He could play anywhere on that back line. You're going to see Furman empty the bench a bit more as well. Elias Live out there as well. Last year started down the stretch quite a bit when they shifted to the back three. Sister Taylor plays for Clemson as well. All in the blood here.
What's really unfortunate, they didn't recognize the athletic acumen earlier on in that family. They were down 1-0, the women's program was earlier tonight to South Carolina. Things got a little bit busy here. I wasn't able to stay on par with that scoreline.
Ransford Gyan continues his run. He doesn't care what the score is. He is going to wreak havoc any chance he gets. Here he goes again. Ransford Gyan to the end line. Ransford Gyan cutting it back. Still loose in front. Out for a corner.
As quick as he is, and certainly with the ball at his feet, which is what we talked about at halftime, his reactions are just really scary. But even when the first touch isn't as clean as he would like it to be, he immediately, it's just like a stud down into the ground, exploding coming the other way. All with that level of energy, that low force of gravity moving one way, and he finds a way to pull himself out of it and counteract the opposite direction.
He already tried for Olympico tonight. The score is 5-0. I wouldn't put it past him to try again. Oh, he didn't. 15 minutes remaining, and the bench being emptied for Furman. Devin, you bring yourself into those shoes for the Furman Paladins. The score being what it is. First game under a new coach. Whole team's back. It's about finishing the job this year, falling short last year in the College Cup semifinal. Your thoughts after this game as you walk into the locker room and on the 45-minute bus back would be what as a player?
Well, most of the words that I would express to myself in the group aren't allowed on air, and that's not a joke. I'm dead serious. Listen, when you as an athlete reach a level that is as competitive as Division I college soccer, you yourself hold a standard within. Forget the group for a second. You believe that you are required to have an output every single game. Then it comes into the group itself. Then you bring in expectations from what they did last season. It is more than likely going to be an extremely quiet bus ride home. My hope is that there's reflection, that even with all the tactical changes that were in this game that we've discussed extensively, energy, physical domination, those are things that you can talk to someone about. You don't teach it. They got to react, right? And if we've learned anything about this group over what is a 12-month span, because we heard rumors, right, coming into last season, it's about character. And there is nothing that is going to come out of this game right now, 5-0, 13 minutes ago, first game of the season, that's going to tell me this team is broken. It's a bad night, right? Everything has been stacked against them. Nothing has gone right. The counterattacks, the deflections, the penalties, agree or not, like, it's a bad night. Chalk it up and move on.
Ransford's corner still loose. Back for Ransford Gyan. Again, that magic wand of a left foot. And again, it'll be a corner for Clemson.
As much as I dislike, and changes will be coming, the format of college soccer, this is relatable to the broadcast industry, where if you and I, which is pretty much every time we come up here, we had a bad night. Listen, if you and I have a bad night, we always look at each other and go, let's go to the next one, right? Next game. They're going to play another game 3-4 days, right? Usually. Like the regimen is 3-4 days, train 2-3. So as quickly as you can get this and learn from it, stick it in your rearview mirror, and then take another step forward. That's the only way you're going to get out of a moment like this tonight.
Good service on the corner. Almost the sixth foul called. And to your point, 4 days from now, UNC Asheville will be the team that has to deal with the wrath of Furman as they try to get this taste out of their mouth. But I'm more focused on a week from tonight. A week from tonight, Furman goes at Duke. Another test against an ACC team that they fared well against last year. That's the one where you're going to really learn about this. But I mean no disrespect to UNC Asheville in the interim. That's a game Furman should win and probably will win. If they don't, then they maybe do have some deeper issues they have to think about. But it's next week against Duke where you'll really learn about this team.
Well, agreed, and we'll stay on both sides of the ball again, right? So now let's go to Clemson's side. That expectation that we keep going back to because of the precedent set before. The recruiting trail, the players returning for the Clemson Tigers, but 14 new faces. Mike Noonan will celebrate what has been a good performance tonight, right? He's also going to go, what's next? He's not going to sit and go, at 5-0, you're the greatest team I've ever seen. If anything, he's going to push you harder, right? Because the Eastern Tennessee States, the South Carolinas, you start to get into ACC play real quick. You're looking at Syracuse, Notre Dame, UNC. Like, this is good. But he's looking for greatness, right?
That's a tough stretch that they have coming up. At South Carolina, your rival, raucous environment. At UCF, always a strong team, improving as a program year after year. At Syracuse, that's a tough road trip after you're going from South Carolina to Orlando, then up to Syracuse, all in the span of 6 days. And then you have a Notre Dame on full rest a week later, but a very tough Notre Dame team. Although a Notre Dame team that struggled tonight, 3-1 defeat against Indiana. Indiana, a team you and I will see in 11 days' time when they visit Louisville. And Louisville won tonight 2-1 against IU Indy.
Saving grace, I could go down and tell the Furman boys Washington's losing right now, 1-0. San Diego. And the game of symmetry, by the way, that is 6 degrees of separation. You know, we joked earlier the scoreline didn't favor me on my last visit as a player. It was 3-0 that night. Yeah, Kevin Hudson's SMU team is pounding the alma mater and Stetson Hatters 3-0.
The reigning ACC champion, SMU Mustangs. And there's the appropriate applause for Ransford Gyan as he takes his leave this evening. Remy Okunlola as well, the captain of this team, one of the captains of this team, an unsung hero, which is tough to say because he did get some plaudits last year. He did have 8 assists, but there's still so much he does that doesn't get recognized or the applause as he leaves as well.
He's the best player on the field tonight, Remy Okunlola. Defensively, didn't give up a single action on his side. Really clean in his decision making. And you forget because of the way that he runs. When you watch him, he just glides, right? You never think that, oh, he's exploding, here we go. The kid just gets up to top end speed real quick and then just flows into the final third.
But 10 minutes to go before this one ends mercifully for the Furman Paladins this evening. Nursing a shoulder there, it looks like, Ransford Gyan, but with the score being what it is, he can get the ice going early, and he can start thinking about the next one against ETSU in 3 days. Five on the night for Clemson. Xander Sevian, though, maybe the one we have to focus on most. A rising sophomore with 2 goals this evening.
He did great tonight, Sevian. And this is the thing that I love about Mike Noonan's teams is even when it doesn't go your way initially, for the freshman last year, having to come off the bench, he continues to push you, make you feel uncomfortable, while also providing confidence, and it spills over into performances like that. Pretty efficient. 2 shots, 2 goals. And one off the deflection that he had to adjust to quite impressively in the moment. But his second one, I mean, that's one where you just take it, stick it in the highlight room. No words are necessary. You put it on repeat because it was such a thing of brilliance.
2 shots, 2 goals, 2 minutes and 49 seconds apart. So it came quickly for Sevian. And that's after he's the one who drew the penalty or helped in drawing the penalty in that action for Clemson. The coach's challenge from Mike Noonan down that side of the field, what led to it. Sevian a part of it, so it was more than just the 2 goals he scored. He was involved in other moments for the Tigers in the attack this evening. Mentioning some scores from around the ACC. Last year, NC State got there to the very end, losing in overtime in the College Cup final against Washington. They went scoreless tonight against Coastal Carolina to begin the season. And that's a Coastal Carolina team with a familiar face at head coach as well. Jimenez, free kick, dropped in, good ball, took a deflection. Well, the referees will say goal kick. Adam Perrin from Virginia, former assistant for Skelnovach, now the head coach at Coastal Carolina, making life difficult for NC State tonight in that 0-0 draw. Wholesale changes on that NC State team that made the run to the final last year. It'll be interesting in the early going this season as this was played through, headed away. Something maybe on for Furman, edge of the area, whipped in. Something to salvage late. It's a moment that can propel you into the next one and lift spirits a bit for Diego Hernandez.
And when they've gotten activity out of the number 9 spot, they have been very effective, the Furman Paladins have, in the final third. You change the shape, which changes the dynamics of your secondary runs. Watch the top of the 18. That's a great trailing run. Notice Diego Hernandez, he doesn't force the space in front of him, instead recognizes that because the defenders from Clemson are so tight, you're not going to be able to get a shot off, and instead lets the play come to him. Good form staying up over the top of the ball to pull one back.
You can see how fired up he still is as well. Wears the captain's armband for a reason. That's the type of leader you need in this moment. You're down 5-0 on the road against your rival, and he's still showing fire and guts and scoring a goal. That's something that carries over, no doubt.
We speak about the level of accountability. Really difficult to walk into a locker room and look your teammates in the eye and say, you have to be better, if you're not mirroring that image on the field, right? That's the mark of great leadership, is in times of despair. When you're down 5-0, you keep going. So you got to find little wins in this game. Anything at all, silver linings, however you want to phrase it, just to reestablish belief that, hey, we're rattled, that's okay. We got a long way to go this year.
Jimenez curls it in. Just starting to mention before the Hernandez goal, the balance of power in the ACC. It's really anybody's guess this year. NC State topped the poll at the beginning of the season. Clemson received 1 first-place vote. They were 5th in the ACC preseason poll. So much turnover in this game year to year. Players graduating, players turning pro, the transfer portal. It's not going to look the same as it looked last season. There are certain teams and things you can count on. You know that Carlos Samuano and UNC, they're always going to have talent. They're always going to find a way to be competitive. You know that Clemson now this year under Mike Noonan, you're seeing it tonight. They're always a threat. But what do NC State look like with the talent they lose? Stanford is always a team under Jeremy Gunn that you know are consistent year in, year out. How will this all shake out when all's said and done? We'll find out in 3 months, but it'll be interesting these first couple of weeks as things begin to take shape.
And Jeremy Gunn returns a ton of players for his group that, for a long period of time, were looked at as the best team in the ACC, one of the best in the country. So tight defensively, find special moments up high, physically really difficult to play against.
This one falls toward Mattis, cleared.
Kevin Hudson's got some interesting transfers that has come into group at SMU. When you bring players from outside the ACC and they have success, it's one thing to expect that they're going to replicate it, but change of environment, the state, the climate, the travel, how do they gel with their teammates? It should not be a foregone conclusion that just because you dominate in one area, it's immediately going to happen at the next stop.
And think of this conversation we've had about the balance of power in the ACC. And we haven't even mentioned Bobby Muse and Wake Forest. We haven't even mentioned Jay Vidovich and the Pitt Panthers.
Oh, you haven't. I stayed out of it. I know better. I usually don't cross the picket line till week 3 or 4.
Big win tonight for Boston College as well, 4-0 over Merrimack.
Stanford Grand Canyon, It's well past your bedtime for sure. It starts in 4 minutes, but certainly a fun one to keep an eye on.
Duke at the hour mark up 2-1 on Seton Hall. Free kick nodded down and saved by Horvat. Difficult one tonight for Pitt. Going up against 7th-ranked Maryland, losing that one 2-1. Virginia, as we mentioned, 11th-ranked team to begin this season, losing 2-1 to UCLA. A lot of their talent from last year has already flashed at the next level. Nick Simmons was terrific for them last season. He's starting to really show up at the pro level. So they lose a lot, Virginia. We'll see how they can put things together. But again, you know, all the stars above their crest as a program in the ACC titles and making the final last year, they are going to again be a force to be reckoned with in their own right. From the corner, Horvat with it. Student section starting to clear out a bit.
The drum
for Clemson. They're taking. That's what caught my eye. They're bringing the drum down, but I think that's so they can get whoever is deemed to be the player of the match to bang the drum themselves. Could be anybody tonight.
Nice ball.
Through to the back post. Sevian centers over the bar. I think the toughest question of the night, you alluded to him already, Okunlola and what he did, but who's the player of the match for Clemson? A brace for
stick
Sevian?
with Remy Okunlola.
Okay.
Yeah, listen, I understand Xander Sevian, and he was very good. But for a defender that just gave up nothing, the tactical changes, like, Remy didn't flinch, man. It's a player that Mike Noonan expects to take a massive step up this year to help achieve the goal of playing in the professional ranks. And certainly the first step taken quite nicely tonight. And you know me also, for all the statistics, the guts, the glory, I also look at a little bit further down the field at some of the defensive guys. It's in my nature.
Floki Stevenson and Lucas Magnuson, for all their inconsistencies last year, looked good tonight, particularly Stevenson. Had a lot of those closing runs, distributed well off the back line. If they can find consistency from those positions this year, which didn't exist previously, that's another massive drop in the bucket for this Clemson team.
And with 2 minutes to go, does the audacity exist for center back Braden Dunham to hit this thing from here?
He just spotted himself on the big screen as well here at historic Riggs Field. That reaction you saw. Any thoughts on that?
It's that kind of night. I didn't like his approach, to be fair.
Watch out, Daniel.
Easy, Daniel. Fall down, workers' comp. We got you, bud. I saw it. I saw it firsthand.
Did he try to lead into it?
A little chicken wing, you know? My man needs a night off. If anything, more per diem for a second meal. See, look, I mean.
Now he's milking it. Now he heard you. now the problem is now we're aiding and abetting him, so we're going to get in trouble for the fraud here.
You got to lean over and just hit vault down. Drop the camera.
They pay no mind in the 2:19 on your screen. We're down to 45 seconds here on the field. On a night of clock malfunctions and goals and plenty to talk about. It's going to be a win for Clemson, and that's what's most important. Downright dominant as well, every step of the way here this evening. Final 30 seconds tick off on the field. Pretty safe to break out the "I believe that we will win" chant now. I think it's been in hand for quite some time. Clemson putting everybody else on notice tonight? Seems that way. We hadn't seen the Upstate Derby in 7 years. It's a rivalry that goes back to 1934. Tonight, the 58th edition, and it's a 4th straight win in the rivalry for the Clemson Tigers over the Furman Paladins. Number 3 team in the nation demolished.